DN. Translated by Bhikkhu Sujato. SuttaCentral.net. Long Discourses 17. King Mahasudassana. The capital city of Kusavatai. The 7 treasures. The 4 blessings. Lotus ponds in the palace of principle. Attaining absorption. Of all cities. The visit of Queen Subhada. Rebirth in the Brahma realm. So I have heard. At one time the Buddha was staying between a pair of sal trees in the sal forest of the Malas at Upavatana near Kusinara at the time of his final extinguishment. Then Venerable Ananda went up to the Buddha, bowed, sat down to one side, and said to him, "Sir, please don't become fully extinguished in this little hamlet, this jungle hamlet, this branch hamlet. There are other great cities such as Kampa, Rajagaha, Savatthi, Sakata, Kozambi, and Benares. Let the Buddha become fully extinguished there. There are many well-to-do aristocrats, Brahmins, and householders there who are devoted to the Buddha. They will perform the rites of venerating the realized one's corpse. Don't say that, Ananda. Don't say that this is a little hamlet, a jungle hamlet, a branch hamlet. One the capital city of Kusavatai. Once upon a time there was a king named Mahasudassana whose dominion extended to all 4 sides, and who achieved stability in the country. His capital was this Kusinara, which at the time was named Kusavatai. It stretched for 12 leagues from east to west, and 7 leagues from north to south. The royal capital of Kusavatai was successful, prosperous, populous, full of people, with plenty of food. It was just like Alakamanda, the royal capital of the gods, which is successful, prosperous, populous, full of spirits, with plenty of food. Kusavatai was never free of 10 sounds by day or night, namely, the sound of elephants, horses, chariots, drums, clay drums, arched harps, singing, horns, gongs, and handbells, and the cry, "Eat, drink, be merry," as the 10th. Kusavatai was encircled by 7 ramparts, one made of gold, one made of silver, one made of beryl, one made of crystal, one made of ruby, one made of emerald, and one made of all precious things. It had 4 gates, made of gold, silver, beryl, and crystal. At each gate there were 7 pillars, 3 fathoms deep and 4 fathoms high, made of gold, silver, beryl, crystal, ruby, emerald, and all precious things. It was surrounded by 7 rows of palm trees, made of gold, silver, beryl, crystal, ruby, emerald, and all precious things. The golden palms had trunks of gold, and leaves and fruits of silver. The silver palms had trunks of silver, and leaves and fruits of gold. The beryl palms had trunks of beryl, and leaves and fruits of crystal. The crystal palms had trunks of crystal, and leaves and fruits of beryl. The ruby palms had trunks of ruby, and leaves and fruits of emerald. The emerald palms had trunks of emerald, and leaves and fruits of ruby. The palms of all precious things had trunks of all precious things, and leaves and fruits of all precious things. When those rows of palm trees were blown by the wind they sounded graceful, tantalizing, sensuous, lovely, and intoxicating, like a quintet made up of skilled musicians who had practiced well and kept excellent rhythm. And any addicts, libertines, or drunkards in Kusavatai at that time were entertained by that sound. 2. The 7 treasures. 2.1 The wheel treasure. King Mahasudassana possessed 7 treasures and 4 blessings. What 7? On a 15th day Sabbath, King Mahasudassana had bathed his head and gone upstairs in the stilt longhouse to observe the Sabbath. And the heavenly wheel treasure appeared to him, with 1,000 spokes, with rim and hub, complete in every detail. Seeing this, the king thought, I have heard that when the heavenly wheel treasure appears to a king in this way, he becomes a wheel-turning monarch. Am I then a wheel-turning monarch? Then King Mahasudassana, rising from his seat and arranging his robe over one shoulder, took a ceremonial vase in his left hand and besprinkled the wheel treasure with his right hand, saying, Roll forth, O wheel treasure! Triumph, O wheel treasure! Then the wheel treasure rolled towards the east. And the king followed it together with his army of 4 divisions. In whatever place the wheel treasure stood still, there the king came to stay together with his army. And any opposing rulers of the eastern quarter came to him and said, "Come, great king! Welcome, great king! We are yours, great king, instruct us." The king said, "Do not kill living creatures. Do not steal. Do not commit sexual misconduct. Do not lie. Do not drink alcohol. Maintain the current level of taxation." And so the opposing rulers of the eastern quarter became his vassals. Then the wheel treasure, having plunged into the eastern ocean and emerged again, rolled towards the south. Having plunged into the southern ocean and emerged again, it rolled towards the west. Having plunged into the western ocean and emerged again, it rolled towards the north, followed by the king together with his army of 4 divisions. In whatever place the wheel treasure stood still, there the king came to stay together with his army. And any opposing rulers of the northern quarter came to him and said, "Come, great king! Welcome, great king! We are yours, great king, instruct us." The king said, "Do not kill living creatures. Do not steal. Do not commit sexual misconduct. Do not lie. Do not drink alcohol. Maintain the current level of taxation." And so the opposing rulers of the northern quarter became his vassals. And then the wheel treasure, having triumphed over this land surrounded by ocean, returned to the royal capital of Kusavatai. There it stood still by the gate to Mahasudassana's royal compound at the high court as if fixed to an axle, illuminating the royal compound. Such is the wheel treasure that appeared to King Mahasudassana. 2.2 The Elephant Treasure. Next, the elephant treasure appeared to King Mahasudassana. It was an all-white skywalker with psychic power, touching the ground in 7 places, a king of elephants named Sabbath. Seeing him, the king was impressed. This would truly be a fine elephant vehicle, if he would submit to taming. Then the elephant treasure submitted to taming, as if he was a fine thoroughbred elephant that had been tamed for a long time. Once it so happened that King Mahasudassana, testing that same elephant treasure, mounted him in the morning and traversed the land surrounded by ocean before returning to the royal capital in time for breakfast. Such is the elephant treasure that appeared to King Mahasudassana. 2.3 The horse treasure. Next, the horse treasure appeared to King Mahasudassana. It was an all-white skywalker with psychic power, with head of black and mane like woven reeds, a royal steed named Thundercloud. Seeing him, the king was impressed. This would truly be a fine horse vehicle, if he would submit to taming. Then the horse treasure submitted to taming, as if he was a fine thoroughbred horse that had been tamed for a long time. Once it so happened that King Mahasudassana, testing that same horse treasure, mounted him in the morning and traversed the land surrounded by ocean before returning to the royal capital in time for breakfast. Such is the horse treasure that appeared to King Mahasudassana. 2.4 The jewel treasure. Next, the jewel treasure appeared to King Mahasudassana. It was a beryl gem that was naturally beautiful, 8-faceted, well-worked, transparent, clear, and unclouded, endowed with all good qualities. And the radiance of that jewel spread all round for a league. Once it so happened that King Mahasudassana, testing that same jewel treasure, mobilized his army of 4 divisions and, with the jewel hoisted on his banner, set out in the dark of the night. Then the villagers around them set off to work, thinking that it was day. Such is the jewel treasure that appeared to King Mahasudassana. 2.5 The woman treasure. Next, the woman treasure appeared to King Mahasudassana. She was attractive, good-looking, lovely, of surpassing beauty. She was neither too tall nor too short, neither too thin nor too fat, neither too dark nor too light. She outdid human beauty without reaching divine beauty. And her touch was like a tuft of cotton wool or kapok. When it was cool her limbs were warm, and when it was warm her limbs were cool. The fragrance of sandal floated from her body, and lotus from her mouth. She got up before the king and went to bed after him, and was obliging, behaving nicely and speaking politely. The woman treasure did not betray the wheel-turning monarch even in thought, still less in deed. Such is the woman treasure that appeared to King Mahasudassana. 2.6 The householder treasure. Next, the householder treasure appeared to King Mahasudassana. The power of clairvoyance manifested in him as a result of past deeds, by which he sees hidden treasure, both owned and ownerless. He approached the king and said, "Relax, sire. I will take care of the treasury." Once it so happened that the wheel-turning monarch, testing that same householder treasure, boarded a boat and sailed to the middle of the Ganges river. Then he said to the householder, "Treasure, householder, I need gold coins and bullion." "Well then, great king, draw the boat up to one shore." "It's right here, householder, that I need gold coins and bullion." Then that householder treasure, immersing both hands in the water, pulled up a pot full of gold coin and bullion, and said to the king, "Is this sufficient, great king?" "Has enough been done, great king, enough offered?" The king said, "That is sufficient, householder. Enough has been done, enough offered." Such is the householder treasure that appeared to King Mahasudassana. 2.7 The counselor treasure. Next, the counselor treasure appeared to King Mahasudassana. He was astute, competent, intelligent, and capable of getting the king to appoint who should be appointed, dismiss who should be dismissed, and retain who should be retained. He approached the king and said, "Relax, sire. I shall issue instructions." Such is the counselor treasure that appeared to King Mahasudassana. These are the 7 treasures possessed by King Mahasudassana. 3. The 4 blessings. King Mahasudassana possessed 4 blessings. And what are the 4 blessings? He was attractive, good-looking, lovely, of surpassing beauty, more so than other people. This is the first blessing. Furthermore, he was long-lived, more so than other people. This is the second blessing. Furthermore, he was rarely ill or unwell, and his stomach digested well, being neither too hot nor too cold, more so than other people. This is the third blessing. Furthermore, he was as dear and beloved to the Brahmins and householders as a father is to his children. And the Brahmins and householders were as dear to the king as children are to their father. Once it so happened that King Mahasudassana went with his army of 4 divisions to visit a park. Then the Brahmins and householders went up to him and said, "Slow down, your majesty, so we may see you longer." And the king addressed his charioteer, "Drive slowly, charioteer, so I can see the Brahmins and householders longer." This is the 4th blessing. These are the 4 blessings possessed by King Mahasudassana. 4 lotus ponds in the palace of principle. Then King Mahasudassana thought, "Why don't I have lotus ponds built between the palms, at intervals of 100 bow lengths?" So that's what he did. The lotus ponds were lined with tiles of 4 colors, made of gold, silver, beryl, and crystal. And 4 flights of stairs of 4 colors descended into each lotus pond, made of gold, silver, beryl, and crystal. The golden stairs had posts of gold, and banisters, and finials of silver. The silver stairs had posts of silver, and banisters, and finials of gold. The beryl stairs had posts of beryl, and banisters, and finials of crystal. The crystal stairs had posts of crystal, and banisters, and finials of beryl. Those lotus ponds were surrounded by 2 balustrades, made of gold and silver. The golden balustrades had posts of gold, and banisters, and finials of silver. The silver balustrades had posts of silver, and banisters, and finials of gold. Then King Mahasudassana thought, "Why don't I plant flowers in the lotus ponds such as blue water lilies, and lotuses of pink, yellow, and white, blooming all year round, and accessible to the public?" So that's what he did. Then King Mahasudassana thought, "Why don't I appoint bath attendants to help bathe the people who come to bathe in the lotus ponds?" So that's what he did. Then King Mahasudassana thought, "Why don't I set up charities on the banks of the lotus ponds?" so that those in need of food, drink, clothes, vehicles, beds, women, gold or silver can get what they need. So that's what he did. Then the Brahmins and householders came to the king bringing abundant wealth and said, "Sire, this abundant wealth is specially for you alone, may your highness accept it. There's enough raised for me through regular taxes. Let this be for you, and here, take even more." When the king turned them down, they withdrew to one side to think up a plan. "It wouldn't be proper for us to take this abundant wealth back to our own homes. Why don't we build a home for King Mahasudassana?" They went up to the king and said, "We shall have a home built for you, sire." King Mahasudassana consented in silence. And then Saka, Lord of Gods, knowing what the king was thinking, addressed the god Visakama, "Come, dear Visakama, build a